Hey guys, what is going on? Chris here with Shughead Gaming, bringing you my review for Touring Karts, developed by Ivanovich Games. Touring Karts releases on PSVR, Index, Vive, and Windows Mixed Reality, but as always, this review will be on the PSVR version and reviewed on the PS4 Pro. Touring Karts releases December 12th, 2019 for an estimated price of $20. Of course, that depends on your region. Touring Karts takes maximum advantage of the possibilities of VR by reinventing kart-type races in the midst of chaos, action, and surprises. Touring Karts looks to bring Mario Kart style racing to VR, but with Dash Dash World and Mini Motor Racing X hot on its heels, does it deliver enough to stand apart? Let's find out. As always guys, if you like this video, please hit that like button. It not only helps the channel, but also helps to promote VR as a whole. And if you'd like to see more PSVR content from me, please consider subscribing. And for video updates, hit that bell icon. Let's kick things off with a look at graphics. As I've said before, Ivanovich Games don't seem to be able to port their titles properly over to the PSVR. As evidenced with both Operation Warcade and Beat Blaster, two games that visually shouldn't have pushed the PS4, but yet both suffered heavily from serious aliasing issues to the point where jagged edges almost seem to be an in-game special effect. While maybe not overly obvious in the always deceiving social screen footage we see in reviews, Touring Karts, while definitely an improvement over the previous titles, still suffers from poor textures and jagged edges. Now don't get me wrong, Touring Karts does a lot right here, from the heavily Nintendo-inspired menu screens to the cheerful cartoon aesthetics. It is a title that definitely nails the feeling of being inside a kart racing game. Shamelessly borrowing from the Mario Kart series in just about every aspect, Touring Karts certainly wears its influences on its sleeves. And while Mario Kart is what we all want Touring Karts to be, this level of similarity actually sometimes works against the game, as it almost always comes up short when in comparison. The issue is that this exists. But you will have to go to a Japanese arcade to play it. So, Touring Karts is what we have, and that's actually okay, because as a whole, it still really works in VR. Levels are bright, cartoony, and ridiculously scaled, and with enough visual variety across all 22 courses to keep things interesting when looking around. The karts themselves lack variety and imagination, and while they don't really look that great when watching them drive around, sitting inside one still made the little kid in me scream with glee. The thing with Touring Kart is that when taken as a whole, the game visually looks the part and checks off all the boxes of what we expect to see in a kart title. Unfortunately, with minimal effects and an uninspired been there seen that attitude, Touring Karts often feels generic and gets a pass visually, mainly because it's in VR rather than actually having anything special or memorable to look at. Sound is up next. Well, I don't really know what to say here other than it sounds almost exactly like Mario Kart. Everything from the weapon effects to the almost copyright infringing music sound exactly like you would expect them to. And hats off to Ivanovich for really nailing that Mario Kart vibe on the sound side of things. It definitely won't win any awards for originality, but it felt like gaming comfort food when navigating around the menu screens and almost forgetting that I wasn't in a Nintendo game. Engine sounds could have been more pronounced, and there could have been more variety in the overall sound mix, but all that being said, the audio package here is full of nostalgia and fun, and very well done. And that brings us to gameplay. A few years back, PSVR headset saw our first and only kart racer, creatively called VR Karts. It was slow, boring, and very much a paint-by-numbers attempt at a kart racer. I honestly can't believe it took this long for a developer to take another swing at the genre, but finally, here we are, with the only slightly more creatively titled Touring Karts. Most definitely being Ivanovich Games' most ambitious VR game to date, Touring Karts thankfully brings to the table a complete experience, offering up a single-player campaign and an 8-player online mode. The 22 courses, 30 vehicles, and 45 power-ups make this to be the real deal and not just some half-assed VR cash-in. Throw in daily challenges, 500 race objectives, and hundreds of unlockables, and Touring Karts most definitely has the content side of things covered. On the single-player side of things, the campaign, or what the developer calls a story mode, consists of all 22 courses, with cups being awarded for finishing in the top 3 across all 3 difficulties on each course. In addition, each race has 2 optional objectives to complete. Completing these opens up unlockables in the form of cosmetics, vehicles, tracks, or money. Money is also given just for racing, and is used to purchase most of the unlockables at will. Multiplayer functions in much the same way, offering the choice of a quick race or setting up to a 4-course tournament to be played in public or private with up to 8 racers. And in a nice addition, allowing the host to pick and choose which power-ups will be active. This customization is also available in single player, but voids your track times for the leaderboard. However, all the content in the world doesn't mean shit if the gameplay isn't fun. Thankfully, Ivanovich succeeds here more than it fails, delivering an addictive and balanced dose of kart racing that for the most part feels like it should. Not surprisingly, it feels like Mario Kart, albeit a less polished effort. Drifting could be more effective, with the awarded boost simply not being enough to make up for the wider turning angle, hence nullifying much of its usefulness until you get into the later races with significantly upgraded vehicles. The sense of speed is sufficient, but certainly not what I would call thrilling. This is often felt even more so since most, if not all, the tracks are simply too short. On top of this, courses lack much in the way of creativity, elevation, or shortcuts, often leaving courses feeling a bit samey and just not very exciting. This sense of sameness unfortunately carries over to the vehicle selection as well, with only a real handful of vehicles, and the most just reskinned for different teams and all performing about the same. I would have liked to see more variation not only in appearance here, but also in performance ratings. All that being said, Ivanovich still provides a kart racing experience that scratches that Mario itch, offering fun arcade combat racing, made significantly better if you can do it with a group of friends. One thing that touring karts does that bests even the mighty Mario is the way in which it handles on-track power-ups, allowing you to pick up multiple power-ups and combine them on the fly into new and often bizarre weapons. This spin on the whole power-up thing adds not only creativity, but a little bit of unpredictability to every race. Further to that, this being a VR game, you simply can't beat the feeling of picking up a bazooka with your actual hand, turning around in your seat, and firing it at your buddy behind you. Continuing Ivanovich's pattern of supporting multiple control options, Touring Karts lets you play it the way you want to, from DS4 support and moves to wheel support, with one move controller being utilized to pick up and throw weapons. Even the 3D rudder makes an appearance for those with disability issues and need foot controls. Personally, I found two moves unresponsive and hard to use, with the DS4 being my recommended go-to. However, if you have the means, you simply cannot beat the combination wheel and move combo, offering up superior control while maximizing the immersion fun factor. Wheel owners, be aware though, outside of the Thrustmaster T80, T150, and T300, along with the Logitech G920 and the G29, I'm not sure if other wheels are even supported. As for wheel control, keep your expectations in check. There's no rotation control and zero force feedback outside of some wheel tension to auto center. Touring karts will be played seated and with a moderate amount of room recommended for flailing arms in front and behind you. The game isn't super fast, but the motion could still cause some motion sickness for some. For those, there are some comfort options available all the way from blinders to alternate camera angles. And that brings us to fun factor and my final review. Touring karts may not be the most polished game, but it knows what it wants to be, and it almost sticks the landing. Longer, more interesting courses would have gone a long way here to making this something really special, as the gameplay is solid, balanced, and fun. It should be mentioned though that my early review copy of Touring Karts was rife with dropped online matches and other various glitches. I'm sure these will be fixed in quick order as the servers open up, but be aware. As you know, I hate number ratings and instead rate games on a basis of buy, wait for sale, or burn it to the ground. At $20, I think this is a buy. There's a lot of content here, and if you are someone who enjoys games like Mario Kart, Crash Team Racing, or Diddy Kong Racing, then you will immediately feel at home here. Online will likely be where Touring Karts lives or dies, as these courses will get old quick without the added excitement of throwing a chicken at your friend's face. Keep this in mind when making a purchase, in addition to considering the two other kart racers coming at your wallet. Mini Motor Racing X comes to PSVR December 17th, with Dash Dash World coming Q1 of 2020. Anyways guys, that's it for me. If you like this video, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more PSVR content from me, please consider subscribing. And for video updates, hit that bell icon. I'll catch you guys on my next video.